Hashtag, my wife got all dressed up at 11 p.m. She stood by the mirror at 11:04 p.m., fastening an earring she hadn't worn in years, the one she once said felt too bold for married life. Funny how boldness returns when loyalty leaves. The dress clung to her like a secret she didn't intend to share. Burgundy, sharp, brazen, the kind of color chosen to be noticed and remembered. She watched herself in the reflection more than the mirror, like she needed confirmation of the woman she had decided to be tonight. I asked where she was going. A simple question. A crack in calm waters. She didn't turn, didn't blink, just let the silence drag across the room like a blade. "Now you want to talk?" she said, voice brittle. "I don't owe you explanations." Something in me tightened. Not anger, not jealousy. Something quieter, a thread pulled taut. Then she smiled. Small, cruel, amused by her own performance. "Maybe tonight I'll find two young guys half your age, someone who can make me feel like a woman again." The words fell heavy, deliberate. A test, or a confession disguised as a threat. "Pull up your dress now, or I started. She turned slowly, eyes sparking, lips curled. "Or what?" Her challenge hung between us, sharp as glass. And in that suspended breath, something inside me shifted. Not rage, recognition. I had heard the truth long before she said it. I had felt it weeks ago, an echo, a shadow, a silence too carefully placed. Tonight was only confirmation, a storm years in the making finally choosing to arrive. It began with small things. They always do. A late message hidden under a pillow. A laugh that wasn't for me. A perfume that lingered when she came home too quickly to have worn it out. I noticed the changes, but said nothing. Silence is more accurate a witness than words. Her phone began to live face down. Her smiles came slower. Her eyes wandered away from mine, as though looking at me was suddenly an obligation she resented. I didn't accuse. I didn't confront. I observed. Because betrayal is not proven by noise, but by patterns. And patterns, once formed, never lie. She became gentler at strange moments, offering tea, asking about my day, acts of kindness too rehearsed to be natural. Guilt always attempts tenderness before it collapses into hostility. And then the hostility came. I asked if she was okay. She snapped. I asked where she'd been. She forgot. The math was simple enough, even without details. Still, I wanted more than suspicion. I wanted truth. Cold, clean, unarguable. Not because I needed to punish her, because I needed to reclaim myself. The moment you know someone has already walked out of your heart, you stop trying to hold the door shut. But knowing internally and proving externally, those are different battles entirely. So I began preparing for the second one, quietly. I started with her routines. The days she worked late were always Thursdays. The night she returned with her hair too neat for the wind outside. The hour she muted notifications, 9:17 p.m., like clockwork. I was polite, attentive, predictable. Predictability disarms the guilty. I checked the phone bill. Not her messages, those were too easy to hide. But numbers, timestamps, patterns. One number repeated 3 times a week, never saved as a contact, never returned when she was home. Then there were the receipts. 2 identical wine glasses charged on a card she rarely used. A rideshare drop-off a mile from where she claimed to be. None of this proved anything on its own, but together they whispered. And whispers are loudest at night. I mailed DNA test kits. not because I doubted paternity, but because I wanted to see her reaction when one arrived addressed to her, a psychological probe. She never mentioned it. She hid the envelope behind cleaning supplies, as though truth could be tucked behind disinfectant. I found it moments later, exactly where she thought I wouldn't look. No confrontation, not yet. Truth ages better when left undisturbed. So I waited. I documented what mattered. Dates, times, calls, locations, all collected with steady hands and a quiet heart. The rage other men feared was absent in me. There was only focus. A calm mind can cut deeper than any blade. When the final piece arrived, it came in the most unremarkable way. An email. A timeline of her movements, screenshots, photographs, proof gathered by someone who thought they knew the full story. They didn't. Only I did. I printed the evidence and placed it in a plain envelope. No name, no flourish. Truth doesn't need decoration. She was in the kitchen when I handed it to her. Her hands were steady, until they weren't. She opened it, read, stopped breathing for a heartbeat too long. Then her face cracked. She said, "It's not what it looks like." Voice trembling, eyes darting for an escape. I remained still, calm, silent. Silence is the closest thing to judgment. Her panic rose, her words stumbled. She reached for explanations that dissolved before leaving her lips. I watched without satisfaction, without pity, just clarity. "I already knew," I said. Nothing more. No shouting, no accusations, no demands. Just a simple, clean truth. She froze, as if the words themselves drained the last warmth from her. She asked how long I'd known. A while. She asked why I didn't confront her earlier. "I wanted you to reveal yourself," I said. "You did." The way her shoulders lowered, the collapse, the internal breaking, was not dramatic. It was quiet, private, the kind of defeat that lives behind the eyes. I placed the house key on the counter. My revenge was not leaving dramatically. It was leaving peacefully. Nothing unsettles a guilty heart more than calm indifference. I walked to the door, while she whispered apologies she didn't believe, an explanation she couldn't finish. I didn't look back. A person only looks back when something worth keeping remains. Outside, the night was cold enough to wake every nerve in my body. I welcomed it. Pain sharpens. Truth cleanses. Distance heals. She had already left our marriage long before tonight. I simply stopped pretending to follow. As I walked away from the house, from the lies, from the echoes of what we once were, I felt something settle inside me, something steady, unbroken. Not anger, not relief, just certainty. Some endings arrive without permission, others are chosen. Tonight, I chose mine. And the silence that followed was the truest thing we'd shared in years.